Hello, my name is Shannon Fable, and I am so excited to be here with you today and with this group of superstars. We are tackling such an important conversation. We're going to be taking a look at what does 2021 look like for exercise and health professionals, and going to give you a little insight into what each of us is thinking, as well as make sense of a lot of what you've probably been reading since early December as we headed into 2021. So I couldn't be more proud and honored to have this amazing group of panelists with me. I'm going to give them a second to introduce themselves to you and tell you just a little bit about who they are, where they're from, and what they were up to in 2020. I'm going to start with Angel. Her name starts with A. She's a personal trainer, health coach, and group fitness instructor, the trifecta. And I personally have had the pleasure of knowing and working with her in a variety of capacities for, gosh, well over 10 years. I think it's more like 13, 14. So tell us where you're from and what you're up to, or what you were up to in 2020.
Yeah. Hi, guys. Thanks for having me on. I am in San Diego. I'm currently unthawing because I just taught class this morning at 7 a.m. outside. Don't be fooled, it gets cold in San Diego. So that is one of the things that has shifted for me in 2020. I was teaching indoors at Barry's Boot Camp and for the last 10 years, and we pivoted to outside. I am not working for them currently because they only are working with full-time staff, full-time trainers. I'm a part-time trainer. So I have been working with just, the people that I know from San Diego from the last decade of living here. So we kind of moved to outdoor training. I'm doing a lot of group fitness outdoors. I'm doing personal training outdoors as well. And I teach at Southwestern College. And that has been a complete shift of, to online since March as well. So got my hands in a lot of different things and staying super busy. I am really shocked at how busy the year has been for fitness. It's great.
Yeah, for sure. I can't wait to hear, especially since you do have such a diverse background in all of those different areas, as well as the college landscape. So next we're going to go to Lee, another professor. He is ACE's go-to guy on all things health coaching. He runs our very popular ACE Health Coach Network group on Facebook and has been such a tremendous help to me personally this past year, capturing great advice for health coaches entering the business. So Lee, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, thank you. I'm Lee Jordan, and I guess my purpose is that I show up for people in meaningful and transformative ways for them, and kind of how that translates into what we're talking about is, as was mentioned, I'm an adjunct professor in a graduate program for kinesiology and integrative wellness. I work as a strategic advisor for tech companies that are looking to put sort of a science-based behavior change methodology into what they're doing. I'm also a practicing health coach and have been working in that field virtually, fully virtual format through my physician endorsed program, 30 Seconds to Victory, since I guess 2011, so for quite a while. And I'm glad to be part of this cool group.
Yeah, thank you, Lee. And now we've got Stacy. She is another group fitness expert that is in charge of a very large group fitness department at a private health club in Seattle. And we all know Seattle was one of the first to shut down and has remained basically closed the entire time. So she had a little bit of extra time in between completely pivoting their business to online. She helps me out on the ACE Group Fit page, which is the sister page to the group that Lee runs for health coaches. And she has so much to share about what she's learned with programming. So Stacy, tell us a little bit about you and what you were up to in 2020.
Thank you. And thank you everybody for having this panel. I think it's really important and a great and timely discussion as we continue, as Shannon mentioned, reading all of these, what's happening in the future. And I think just to have gone through so much change this year with my team, as Shannon mentioned, I oversee a large team of approximately 85 group fitness instructors and a mix of private Pilates instructors as well. So there's kind of the group aspect and the private aspect. And we in 2020 have been so busy trying to just keep the whole team on the ship together and communicate with each other and just keep each other accountable and working very hard. As Angel said, it has been a really busy year for our entire team. And we've had to really reinvent what we do as we went into virtual, dove headfirst into that. Now we've experienced with the hybrid in-person and virtual, and now we're looking forward to hopefully being in person someday.
Yeah, and I can't wait for you to share some of those stories, because you sit on such a different side than the rest of us do, where you are still actively managing, like you said, a very large group of people. So you've also had to deal with what those individuals were going through and keeping them motivated because they weren't able to do what they were doing. So excited for you to share. Last but not least, we have Rebecca. And I think of the four, not to put any pressure on you, I think she had the biggest transformation in 2020. And what I was so excited to see with you, Rebecca, is you were really able to focus on your love of all things group fitness and get back into doing it instead of just managing it, which you did such a great job at. She too helps us at the ACE Group Fit page. And I can't wait to hear what she thinks is up next for us in 2021. Rebecca?
Well, thanks for having me. I've been in group fitness for the last 15 plus years, and have been lucky enough to work with some great brands like Les Mills, 24 Hour Fitness, and most recently IDEA. I, in 2020, left my full-time job there running the IDEA World event to open my own virtual group fitness studio. And I've spent the last 6 months helping other instructors do the same.
Yeah, it's so exciting. You have so many stories to share. So again, thank you all for being here and sharing your hearts and your heads with us for this very important conversation. So if you're listening and you're feeling anything like me, 2020 left me confused, concerned, and committed. And I know those three things don't really seem like they would work, but I think everyone on this panel that I chose to sit here with me today felt the same way, just confused about what was happening, concerned with both the consumer and the professional, what was going to happen to these people that we've been working with and for so long, and committed to finding a path forward. Left us really tired from trying so many different things. And we're filming this in all transparency, December 30th, the day before the last day of the year. And I know the last 10 days I had really needed a nap. I finally woke up and realized how exhausted I was from being confused, concerned, and committed for the last 10 months, but re-energized about moving forward into 2021. So, confused again about how a job you love so much, that's so needed, could be rendered unavailable at a moment's notice. Confused about how a profession you poured your heart and your soul into could be boarded up for months on end without a real answer as to when or if it was coming back the way it once was. Concern for your members, your clients, your participants, how they would get education, inspiration, motivation they needed without facilities they frequented, services they utilized, and classes they joined in. And like I said, committed to finding a way forward and doing what you could to keep people moving. And now here we are. It's a little less frazzled. You're still tired from the train, like I said, and we're still gazing into a crystal ball to figure out where we can plug in and make the most impact. So we're in luck. We've got these great, bright minds that are going to help us navigate 2021 what it'll look like. So let's dive in. I'm going to start with a very loaded question. You guys know me. But do you think the industry is pivoting, being disrupted, or evolving? And I've spent a lot of time thinking about those three words because they've been used interchangeably this last year, and I think they're all very, very different. So what I'm after is really getting behind what those words mean and which one you're most committed to, or you think the industry is and should be committed to moving forward in 2021. And maybe if that's hard for you to pinpoint, just tell me generally what the state of the industry is as 2021 gets started. So Stacy, not to put you on the spot, but we've had this conversation privately before. You get to go first.
Thank you so much. Yes, it is. What I love about how you explained this year is just how honest you have been and realistic about what we've been going through. And all of the words you just said, I think, summarize what we've been through. But to me, I agree. I've heard the word pivot so many times. And while I do agree it has happened, I think we should hopefully be beyond that at this point. So the pivot happened, the disruption happened, And now I'm really hopeful that the fitness industry can continue to evolve, because we were pivoting for a while, but I think what happened is the disruption of this year is what has caused us to need to recognize what our participants need, what our instructors and our trainers need, and what our leaders need to continue to evolve and provide movement to as many people as possible.
Yeah, and I love how you kind of put the words in an order, right? And I believe I've mentioned, I actually think the disruption was happening long before 2020. We were just able to ignore it because we had our comfort zone and everything was working. And then all of a sudden we had to pivot because the way that we were working wasn't only disrupted, like it just wasn't there anymore. So everyone had to pivot. And I agree, like this word pivot, that's what happened. But that to me represents a Band-Aid. It's the thing that was holding us together. I'm going to pivot this way and see if that works. And I'm going to pivot that way and go. And to your point, I think we are or should be past that and evolving to get more people moving. I love that. Lee, you speak to the health coaching side of the industry. What do you think?
Well, health and wellness coaching is this sort of very client-centered approach. And so I don't know, very few people have not been disrupted in their lives in some way, in some domain of their lives, right? So for that perspective, it's been a disruption to the client, to the people that we serve in some way. So that's been the disruption. But really, when I think about your question through the lens of health and wellness coaching, evolving is what we're really seeing for a myriad of reasons. But what we're really seeing is this evolving into a fulfillment of the vision that was cast by Cedric Bryant in 2017, our president and chief science officer, where he envisioned this place where we would get to where health coaches would become accepted, and other behavior change, interventionists, for lack of a better term, will be accepted and integrated into members of the healthcare team. And so that's my perspective on that right now.
Yeah. You know what I think is really, this needs to be a whole nother conversation. What I think is really interesting, I had this thought yesterday, health coaching and what I've learned from you and Cedric and everyone that leads the way at ACE on health coaching is it has always been about putting the client at the center and teaching them they already have all the answers inside. We've just got to help them unlock it, empower them, right? It's not our job to tell them what to do. It's to help them figure it out. And I think that needs to be the evolution in the movement professions. Personal trainers, group fitness instructors, that is the lesson that we should have learned. And not just the professionals, but our clubs and our studios need to learn that as well. So putting that participant at the center of their ecosystem versus the club being there or the program or the format, like that's the biggest change that I think needs to happen. Like I said, this could be a whole nother conversation, but it's become really apparent to me as I've changed my relationship with exercise and realizing that I want a little bit of everything. I want a personal trainer, and I want to be able to go to a studio, and I want to be able to have access to a gym, and I want to work out at home. And so the industry's got to evolve and figure out how they can give me all of those things rather than forcing me to be in their ecosystem. Does that make sense to you guys? Sorry, I'm getting totally off on a tangent here, but just made me think of it when you articulated it that way, Lee. Angel, you sit like in the middle of all three of these buckets, all three of these worlds, and you shifted considerably, moving from working at a studio and in health clubs to doing it all on your own. What do you think about those three words? Pivot, disruption, evolve, all the above?
I love how Stacy put it in that order. I mean, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I mean, just like, any athlete on a field or a court pivots, that can put you in a better position. But then, I mean, how are you going to make the play, right? How are you going to continue in the game? So you have to continue to evolve, like Stacy said. So, for me, I think it's been an actual, I'm doing more personal training now. I've been in the industry 22 years. And most of it has been in group fitness. But now, because of where the clients are and need me to be, I will go and support them in whatever way I can. So, while there is still a need for group fitness and we're able to do it pretty easily here in San Diego outdoors, I've seen a lot more attention to the one-on-one, and that's evolved me as a trainer to kind of go back and look more at program design. I took one of those like 40-hour CECs on postural assessments, and I've been doing a couple of those virtually, which I was like, how is this going to work? I'm not even live with somebody and I'm going to assess posture. And so it's really, it was disruptive, but it helped me evolve into just a more well-rounded fitness professional.
I love it. Yeah, you found, and I know I keep saying I love it, but I really, really love all these. And I realize I asked you guys to keep these short, and now I'm like belaboring every single point. This could be the whole webinar. I love what you just said. Like, you found the opportunity in the disruption and you evolved personally to adapt to what the person needed or the client needed. And I know your love is group fitness. That's what we did together here in Colorado when you lived here for a short bit. I know you love it. You love the energy of the group, and what I saw from you personally, and you always have this most giant smile on your face. You're always so positive, but even more so during this time, like, you didn't get down on the fact that you couldn't do that thing anymore. Instead, you said, what can I do? And how can I evolve and be more equipped to do what the client needs, regardless of what I need out of this profession. And I think that was a big evolution for a lot of professionals that have made it through the past 10 months. So thanks for sharing that. And Rebecca, can't wait to hear your answer.
Oh gosh, how do I add to this conversation? I just want to can I say ditto?
You can.
But partly I love the word disruption, maybe because I'm a little bit of a troublemaker, or I just love the opportunity that disruption brings. I think more than ever, our clients, consumers, they have a lot more control of when and where they work out. And just like you were saying, it's our job to meet them where they're at. And I think that's allowing us as fitness professionals to evolve our careers. And we have a lot more choices than we've ever had before of, even striking out on our own. We don't have to just teach, my background's in group fitness. I'm not limited inside the group fitness studio anymore. Yeah. I can be at a park like Angel, or I can be at home teaching on Zoom.
Yeah. And I love, I'm going to keep saying and. I love that you keep saying and, because I hope that everyone sees the potential in the pluses versus the minuses, right? Like, so many things got taken away from us, but those professionals like you guys that have, I'm not going to say skated through this, because I know each of you have had to deal with a lot the last year, but it has opened your mind to so many additional opportunities by seeing the and versus what got taken away, which is awesome. So, it's come. The end of 2020 brought a slew of articles, blogs, and podcasts about the trends that are emerging and predictions about the future. So I want to hear your thoughts about a few of them. This is the first one. I've seen a lot of talk about how the public's perception of health and wellness and fitness is finally going to change. People are going to see us as essential. Exercise is going to be essential. And I'm going to leave it at that. Let's start with you, Angel. What do you think? Is that really the biggest shift that's going to happen in 2020? Do you truly think that the public's perception has changed about the part this needs to play in their life?
Well, so I work with, college students who tend to not be the most health focused. And I will say in the last, year now almost, there's a more of a concern, like a visceral concern for health. We do live in San Diego. I teach near the Mexican border. So a lot of the population that I work with has been hit hard by COVID, their families. And I think that they are now seeking more than ever, even on, campus where we have this amazing facility to work out at. There's the knowledge, the desire for the knowledge to change habits and to educate is at a high right now.
Good.
So I'm really excited to help students in that way, but also for my department, because we have a fitness specialist program. So students complete this 1-year program and then eventually sit for the ACE exam. So this is hopefully going to encourage more and more people who love fitness and are fitness minded to become certified and to be leaders in the community, to help people and show that, fitness can happen in so many different ways. And, you don't have to put it in a particular box. It could be, like Lee alluded to earlier, it's what the client wants to design for themselves and how they see themselves being successful in the health and fitness world. So, I'm very hopeful that we will continue to be busy and looked at as essential workers. I thought that was a great way to say that.
I'm very interested, and I know I didn't prep you for this, but something you said sparked another question for me. I think it's really interesting that you're seeing more people be interested in gaining the knowledge and getting educated about fitness. It's not just that now they're going, ooh, I've got to get healthy. Let me go work out and have someone lead me, right? They want to take ownership of that. And you connected that with hopefully they'll get into your specialist program, sit for the ACE exam, become a professional. I wonder what you think, and I'm so hopeful that if people arrive at this profession from that place versus how many of us, and I think I'm speaking for Stacy, Angel, and Rebecca, like I'm a frustrated rock star that was a dancer and a cheerleader. So teaching step aerobics in 1996 made a ton of sense. Like it was just like the natural evolution of my career. I didn't make it as a singer, an actor, or a dancer. Let's go do it in spandex with a microphone. But I wonder if the shift of people getting into the industry, because all of a sudden we're talking about how health can combat this disease we've all been trying to figure out for the last year, how do you think that's going to change how we interact with clients?
It's a great question. I do see that there will be a bigger desire for people to move in the industry. For me, it's interesting because like one of the classes that I teach is for elementary teachers. It has nothing to do with the fitness specialist program, but I just completely shifted a lot of the content online because of the feedback and the questions and the dialogues that we were having in class. And I was like, these guys are just hungry for the knowledge, like I said earlier. Cool. And they will be classroom teachers, but with hopefully enough ammunition now to say, here's how to teach health and basic PE skills, movement skills for young kids, so that we could start a trend from early on to get kids we at ACE, we say get people moving, right? Yeah. It's like, yes, and let's start when they are kids. So that has been one of the really cool, like I never expected that class to go that way. But I switched it up because I felt like it was going to be more valuable in the remote setting that we're in.
It's really cool. So new people in different professions will be armed with this education and be able to infuse it rather than, like I said, forcing people to get into a gym to get the education or to buy into our programs to get the information, because it's so important. And I guess what I was saying is I truly hope, I know I had to personally go through an evolution to understand what my job really was. And it was a slow process. And it took me, many of you know my story, ended up in a hospital bed for 73 days to go, oh my God, I've been doing this all wrong. Like I've just been approaching it from a totally different way because I was always fit. Like I always got it. I always knew how to move. I had movement literacy. I was self-motivated. I did it because it was a joy, not a chore. And I'm thinking, if people are coming into this from a perspective of, their own journey earlier on, and that's what puts them into it, then they're going to be such a more well-rounded, and this is going to go right into Lee's conversation, because I know you teach this, preach this, understand this is what health coaching is all about. But you're going to have the empathy gene. Maybe that's what I'm looking for in all of this is I think more people are going to come into this profession with the empathy gene and truly understanding or being curious about what it takes to unlock the love of moving your body in other people versus assuming they have the answers for them, which I think is pretty cool. Lee, I know that speaks right to your world. So you tell me, do you think that the public's perception of fitness and health and wellness is finally going to change?
I love the topic, and I do believe that the public's perception of fitness is growing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. But the thing that's really exciting to me is that I believe that the fitness industry's perception of
Mm.
the public is growing and shifting,
Yeah.
and that it's becoming more agile, not just in how services are made available, but to the very idea of fitness. It's
Mm-hmm.
expanding, okay, a more holistic health understanding, moving into wellness. And I didn't think about this, but some of what may be driving that, obviously what we've going through, but and where that empathy gene you're talking about is
Mm-hmm.
showing up, maybe changing that. And so the I think where the real to get to the 85%, that aren't involved type of thing, isn't so much about us continuing to hope, try,
Mm-hmm.
pray that the public, I'm part of that,
Mm-hmm.
changes as much as how we in the industry, the concept of fitness overall shifts, and that this impacts health and wellness coaching specifically, because that is really the focus of a lot of health and wellness coaching is grounded in cultivating within our clients what is possible.
Mm-hmm.
The expansive health and wellness possibilities, right? And so as the industry shifts and changes, as they begin to look at this whole piece, health and wellness coaches are showing up with specific learned skills that are taught to do exactly this, evidence-based, science-based, and it's positioning them to be part of the team,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's been said many times by a lot of smarter people than me that fitness and wellness is really, especially sustainable fitness and wellness,
Mm.
is really the ultimate team sport.
Totally. Oh my gosh. Like if there's a part, there's going to be many more of these along the way, part that I want to like snip out and go, every person that is going to sit for this exam has sat for this exam. Like you have to listen to this before you can renew or do your thing. What I love, and I had to write it down so I didn't lose it. And I had not thought about it until you just said it. My perception of fitness has shifted as a fitness professional, where I find myself stumbling over the word fitness and trying to put it back in my mouth and change it when I talk about what I do in the last 10 months. And I've gotten really, and this is horrible to say, like irritated with professionals that continue to talk about fitness. People need fitness, people need workouts, people need exercise. Because again, ACE's mission is to get people moving. That's always resonated with me. But now more than ever, it's almost like, do you remember when a aerobics instructor, we started to call it the A word? Stacy, you're too young. Angel, you're too young. You guys are all too young. But I remember in the late 90s, it was shifting where we were being called group fitness instructors, not aerobics instructors. And so I would cringe whenever someone would call it aerobics. I'm like, I am not an aerobics instructor. I am a group fitness instructor. Why am I saying that? I feel that way now about fitness and exercise. And I don't know what the word is because I know not all fitness professionals can be called wellness professionals because they don't have that training. They haven't gone through my hope in 2021 is that every single person that is delivering movement as an experience goes through behavior change specialty certification or becomes at least sits for the health coaching certification to learn. You don't have to sit for the exam, buy the book, learn the stuff inside of it. Because to your point, it is a team effort. And I think those are two things that help us see it as something so much bigger than just teaching people step or this modality or that modality. And I've loved that this year, that in 2020, not this year, 2020, people stopped talking about what equipment was best, what approach to exercise was best, what format was best, which burnt the most calories. So that's going to be a good thing if that can happen in 2021, is if we, I love that you said that, if we can shift our perception of the fitness industry as the people inside of it, then the public will be able to get what they need. Okay, moving on. But that was really good. We could stop it here and life would be good. But next, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the prediction that the way personal training, health coaching, and group fitness is delivered is going to continue to evolve. So as a group fitness instructor that navigated the move to online seamlessly, well, I think you came kicking and screaming first though, Rebecca, right? I want to know what you think about what this is going to look like in the months and years to come. So from the perspective of, you're an independent instructor that has been uncoupled from a club that you worked for many, many years. What do you think? What's it look like?
I mean, I think consumers are going to demand that we meet them where they're at. For so long, we were demanding that they come to us, right? That was the way that they could work out. And what we've learned in 2020, myself included, is that, you know, that's not the only way. In person isn't the only way. I think online is here to stay. That doesn't mean that I don't believe in person. I think in person is going to make a big comeback when we can do so safely. But people are going to want both.
I agree.
You know, people, they're not just eating out. They're not just eating at home. They do both. And fitness is the same.
Yeah, it's that and mentality, right? And I've been saying that since the beginning. This is not an or, it's not a choice. It's empowering them through choice versus thinking they're going to make a black and white decision, right? And the more that we can understand it, and I'm hoping that as we continue in 2021 as instructors and trainers, that we find higher quality delivery mechanisms that allow us to do it in a sustainable way, right? Because we've been kind of MacGyvering it together for the past 10 months. So hopefully we can slow down to speed up, slow down and pick the right tools and stack the technology and make it a frictionless experience and leverage third-party tools so that we're not having to try to do it all on our own and burning out. That's my hope for the independent. But I love what you said, Rebecca. They're going to want to do both. Right. They're not going to come to the gym any more than they were before, but when they come, they're going to want something better. And in between those times where they have the opportunity to show up in person, because that's getting harder, that's not going away. Like, that is going to get tougher in the months and years to come with everything that's happened. So how can we expand on that? So Stace, you know, Rebecca talked about it as an independent. You had to figure this out for a very large health club that is known for group fitness. And I know you believe in the temperament as well, but what do you think clubs are going to have to do to reach consumers in 2021 and beyond?
Well, this entire year has been a lesson for me and my team in identifying that we need to validate ourselves as instructors and validate our team as not just the number of people who are attending the class, as whether it's virtual or it is in person. And that has been something that my team and I have been working together on, is understanding what does a successful group fitness department look like. And as what I see in the future, the advantage to virtual that I feel like I'm looking back, I'm like, why didn't I start this sooner with my team? Because it has created this whole new landscape of ways to record on demand classes that are a variety of different formats and times and lengths of time, and when the consumer can consume them when it works best for them. And then it used to be so much about, okay, this is your format, this is what you teach, this is whoever subs this class has to teach it that way. And now the authenticity of my instructors has become this level that we can continue to work on together and grow together. And I've so enjoyed praising them for finding their authenticity. And then Angel alluded to this earlier, but really the fact that they can even learn from themselves by watching what they do all the time has been taken their education to a whole other level. Because I don't know about any other group fitness managers out there, but asking your instructors to watch themselves teach was like pulling teeth, literally. And it's not easy, but the more we can take advantage of that new modality of what we do, I just cannot wait to see that tool continue to evolve. And it's really taught me and my ego to back off and realize, again, it's not about how many people are in the room or in your computer taking your class, but also just being okay with trying something new and being okay with the fact that if they can't make it to your class at the time that works for you, does not mean they don't care about your class.
Mhm.
You have to provide the other options. And I just can't wait to be able to continue to do that.
Yeah, you and I both come from the group fitness management world. That's what I've lectured and written about for eons. And I've always tried to get group fitness managers and owners of clubs and studios to understand numbers are not the only metric. And if you are only looking at numbers, you are feeding a really scary beast. I'll stop there. But I love what you just said. And I know I keep saying that, I'm so sorry. Love what you just said. It's not like, how did we not realize before that that getting 50 people to want to be in the same class with the same instructor at the same time, that has nothing to do with you, Stacy. I mean, I think back to, again, I'm going to go back to the 90s. Sorry, I'm dating myself, but I used to think myself a pretty hot little number because I could pack a kickboxing class that was no equipment at 100 people at 5:30 on a Monday night. They would line up an hour before to get tickets. I'm like, yeah. I moved. Guess what? Class still had 100 people. It wasn't me. It was 5:30 on a Monday in downtown Atlanta. It just worked. And that was part of my, I told you, like I had this slow evolved learning of what I was actually doing. But as long as we keep focusing on the numbers, we're tracking the wrong thing. And virtual, you are so right. Like I might want to take, Peloton. I've been taking a lot of Peloton classes since this whole thing. I'm on a 48-week streak now. And it's great because I can't always make the live classes. I try, but when I can't, I know which instructors and what formats I want to go and how to, I get to do it on my terms. And I think we've all been talking about that. I think that's something to celebrate. The second thing I want to highlight that you said that was so interesting is you used to have, like, I would hire personalities, but then I teach them how to be vanilla.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That's
Because I had to
exactly.
hire someone to put them in a time slot in a format, and I need them to have a personality, but I need them to make everyone feel good in the class. And so they could still be authentic, but it tamped down their ability to actually work on the fringes. And the way virtual can be, and now even in person, you can be exactly who you need to be on Monday at 5:30 in a kickboxing class. And if someone doesn't like that class, they can still be in the gym with your app doing a workout with somebody else that resonates with them. So we can amplify this whole concept of, like, the world needs way more radio stations than it has because we all want and need something different, rather than trying to make a whole bunch of people meet the needs of so many unique individuals. It's such an interesting perspective shift for everyone involved. So thank you for that. Angel, I'm going to shift it just a little bit to get your opinion. And I want to talk as a trainer. How do you think, because I know you're going virtual and doing all the digital stuff, but how do you think training services are going to change this year? Like how we package things up and put them together for people. Do you think that's going to shift?
I think Rebecca said the word customizable, and that is a very common term now in the industry. And I'll speak from the point of view of an independent because I, work for myself. Being creative with what I can offer people, but also, I don't know, maybe it's selfish of me being in the industry and this is my job. I want to be happy. I don't want to do something that I don't like either. Because then that's not going to carry over well with my client. Yeah. So you are not going to see me on a Zoom call watching somebody work out. I'm not doing it. And I've been asked to do it. And I said, that's not, how I operate. So let me propose a couple different options for you and let them decide what would be the best option. So like an example would be, me delivering, watching that, like the client that I was just talking about earlier with the visual assessment, right? So, she contacted me. This was a corporate client. So a lot of people, coming out of the woods, right? Like I don't even really know her. I worked at her company. I taught, corporate fitness for her company. And she came a couple times years ago. And then she emails me like, hey, I want to work with somebody one-on-one. Great. Let's talk about what you want. So she goes through this whole, like, I want to lose weight and all these objectives. And then at the very end, she says, and I have like chronic pain in my neck. My jaw goes numb after being at the computer all day. I was like, do you want to address that too? Like, ding, ding, ding. Like, okay, like, yeah, 10 pounds. Okay. But like, who wants to be in chronic pain all day? So this evolved into doing, the visual assessment. And I said, well, here's, how I think we should proceed. We need to start doing some myofascial work to start breaking up the tissue, then work on some stretching, then work on some strengthening. I can provide you with some cardio programming because, she showed me what she has available to her in her house. So we meet one time a week on Zoom and we do a hybrid of like health coaching. I get down on the floor and I show her the foam rolling stuff. So it's not, like me just standing there and watching her do squats for 20 minutes. I mean, I try to really bang in a lot in that training session, but I mean, that was something that I had never done with somebody before, but that's what I felt she needed. And if she was willing to go down this road, then, okay, let's go for it.
Yeah.
So
The word
I would just say, try to still be
customize.
true to yourself, right? On like what you really want out of the profession too.
And there's so much to unpack in what you just said. It would be a whole nother 2-hour business course on evolving your personal training business, which is so needed in so many ways. It's understanding we are not just form watchers and rep counters. And we've known that for so long, but this industry has forced us into just putting lipstick on a pig, right? Like setting a better mousetrap to do the thing. But I really appreciate that you started with, you had to figure out what you wanted to do and not do, double down on that and trust that if that's what you were put on this earth to do, there are people that want what you're doing. And you don't have to be, just like Stacy was saying, you don't have to not be authentic to who you are and what drives you. And personal trainers understand, I hope in 2021, that there is value in program design. There is value in assessment. There is a value in just holding people accountable by checking in on them with text. Like, you don't have to physically be with them and synchronously working out to be a high caliber personal trainer. Now, I hope what you also caught in what Angel said is she's doing a hybrid of health coaching, assessment, teaching, education. So I'm going to go back and double down on, if you do one thing this year, it is learn health coaching, learn behavior change, and understand how that comes together. And not just for trainers, but also group fitness instructors. But such a neat thing to see trainers understanding now is I don't just have to trade time for money. It's not about a session is, let's warm up on the treadmill for 5 minutes. I'm going to take you through strength training. I'm going to hand you your weights and put them back away. And then you're not the concierge. You can do so much more than that. And there is value. Like, I would pay anyone money to give me a training program and just check in with me every day and make sure I'm doing it and hold me accountable. That is so valuable. Showing up is not the only thing. So thank you. It's really, really good stuff. So let's keep talking about this delivery method thing and the fact that it's evolving. So it's inevitable that access to trainers, coaches, health coaches, and instructors will be easier than ever. I think you've heard us all mention that. And that's leading many to believe that next year is the rise of the independent professional. Any of you willing to tackle that prediction? Do you think there's going to be more pros striking out on their own, going directly to the consumer? And I will caveat this by saying, we've already addressed this. Gyms aren't going anywhere. In-person's not going anywhere. But because so many professionals were, and I know it was a business decision, so many professionals just all of a sudden didn't have a job. Like, Angel, it's not that you don't like Barry's, just all of a sudden they need to double down on the people that are full-time and they don't have as many time slots to go around, right? So, I'm not demonizing the business decisions that many health clubs and studios had to make. They had to, just like restaurants did and everyone else. But it's given us, I think it's given a lot of individuals like you, Angel, you go, oh, there's so many other ways to do this and do this on my terms. This is kind of cool. So yeah, anyone willing to tackle whether or not the rise of the independent is coming in 2021?
Well, I can speak to this as somebody who went independent.
You are independent.
In 2020. I mean, I do think there are more choices as a fitness professional, now more than there ever have been. And so I do think we're going to see more personal trainers step out and do their own training businesses, whether that's going to see clients in their home, which a lot of them are doing right now out of necessity, training clients from home. I've seen a lot of group fitness instructors, just like Angel, who are no longer teaching in club, have been let go. So now they're meeting their class participants at a park, and they're paying them directly. So I think we are going to see a huge rise in the, just like we've seen in 2020, I think that trend is going to continue to grow. I think the breaking point is going to be what is sustainable for the independent professional. Speaking to Angel's point, you've got to pick the thing that you love and stop trying to be have all the solutions for everyone, chasing as many clients as you can, because you're going to burn out.
Yeah. I always say when I teach Book Yourself Solid business coach, and the number one thing I teach in the beginning is you don't just take everyone because they have a pulse and a paycheck. You can't. You have to choose your who, your what, and your why, right? Who is I put on this earth to serve? What is the number one result I can provide? And why do I do it? Because there are going to be a lot of people that choose the same who. That's okay. There's going to be a lot of people that choose the same what. But your why is what's going to resonate with the person that's going to pick your radio station. And it's not pick yours over theirs, but it's about matching people. Did you guys just watch? Have you watched Soul? I know, Rebecca, you have, because you have kids. Did you watch it, Lee?
No.
It's okay. Well, I won't spoil it, but maybe by the time everyone's seen this, they will watch it. Anyway, I just thought it was so brilliant about like finding your purpose, the whole conversation about purpose. And I think professionals need to find their purpose. And then there are people that will resonate with your purpose. And that's when magic happens, because you're trying to find the people that you can do your best work with. Because when you do your best work, people talk about you doing your best work. And when they're talking about you doing your best work, you get more work. So it's so neat. And that's why I'm excited about this rise of the independent. And let me clarify, and this is my prediction that it's going to be the rise of the independent. It's not, and I'm going to come to you, Stacy, I'm going to put you on the spot, because I know this stresses you out and it stresses your owners out in a health club. I don't think that necessarily means the professional has to leave the health club. I just think what it means to me is the professional is going to take control of their career. They are going to choose their who. They are going to choose their what. They are going to resonate with their why, and they are going to double down on it. And they are going to match the opportunities at clubs and studios and everywhere else. And they're going to put that together in a way that works for them long-term, sustainable, to your point, Rebecca. And I think you've had that epiphany, and you're the one that's been trying to convince your owners that it's okay just because so-and-so is doing this on their own. How do we leverage that? So I don't know, maybe if you could just short answer, but how do we put those two things together instead of seeing them in opposition?
It is such a tough answer to that question, but it is so true. It's this discovery, I think, that instructors have had of what really brought them to this industry in the beginning. And at first, I think most of us experienced, we were just throwing spaghetti at the wall and trying to see what stuck. And just like they were frantically, I think it's important for clubs to identify that was the only option, was to try to do something on their own. And in doing so, they not only discovered what they really truly enjoyed about teaching and how important it was to their soul. I haven't seen the movie yet, but just how important that was for their purpose. And then the relationships that they've developed with our members and with their own people that they've been able to bring from all over the world. Some of our instructors have talked about, I have this friend who's moved to the UK, and I stayed in touch with her, and now she's taking my classes, and I never thought that day would come, ever. And so that opportunity that they're now experiencing, it just, as much as I know we're in this business of fitness, it's hopefully that we can recognize the importance of those relationships and maintaining those relationships and capitalizing on the relationships that the new relationships they've made with people that that we can now bring into our own facilities. So as much as it is easy to say, well, they're seeing this person on their own, or they're seeing these people on their own, I think it's taking a step back and recognizing that the collaboration in the industry needs to continue to grow and evolve, and just how important those relationships have become, because they're seeing people in their house with their dog and their kids. And that level
it's very
of
personal.
Understanding is so personal. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, totally. And it makes me think, and I'm not going to put Lee on the spot, but it makes me think of what Lee said earlier. It's about this team approach. And so it's about the independent understanding that you are part of their health and wellness journey. You're doing one thing for them, group fitness instructor, and Lee can do another, and Angel can do another. So if the club is going to capitalize on that, two things have to happen. They also need to pull this all together and see it as a team approach, versus group fitness does this in the back and it's a cost center and we have to have it, but keep going. Personal trainers, how much money can you bring me? We've got the whiteboard in the office with your revenue goals. And health coaching, I'm not quite sure what that is, but I heard we need to have it. So Lee, can you come in and just do it on your own, go find your own clients? I know this is not the forum to talk about what clubs need to do, but available for consultations. Like, you've got to figure out how to pull that team together too. And when you do, you will also start to realize, and gosh, I don't know how clubs could not understand this right now. What people were coming to you for was not your treadmill. And if they were, they definitely do not need you anymore. Because treadmills, I mean, they're hard to find. So, and not everyone could, you know, price wise, whatever. But honestly, and we've said this for so long, like if your relationship in a gym was with a piece of equipment, that is really easy to break. You just go find it somewhere else that's more affordable, more convenient, whatever. The people that were in your clubs doing the things that maybe you did or didn't pay attention to is what created the magic. So maybe we need to be paid a little more. Moving on. What do you think the future of in-person training, coaching, and group fitness is going to look like? I know we've all said it. It's not going away. I don't think it's going to go away, but I think you guys agree with me. It's never going to be the same. I'm never going to teach another 100-person class with bodies packed like sardines, sweating on each other with carpet on the floor. Like, it's never, ever happening again. I'm going to start with Lee. I haven't heard from you in a bit. Health coaching already could and did happen online, but give us a bit of insight on how you think face-to-face health coaching, like, do we do it? Do we have to do it? Is virtual going to be it? What do you think?
It is, yeah, it's a somewhat different animal in the sense that health coaching is inherently a one-on-one, not exclusively by a long shot. And but inherently it's sort of a one-on-one. It doesn't require me to be in very close proximity to you. I don't need to touch you. I'm not, we're not breathing, hard, like, so from a proximity standpoint, it inherently has fewer challenges than other things within, the type of team we're talking about within the COVID world. One of the places where I saw it personally, I mean, I as we went through this, I mean, I pivoted. I guess I should join the pivot train, right? Or evolve. But one of the places where I lost, like about a third of my revenue was from on-site wellness programs within large companies that brought me on, 800,000 plus people. And that's face to face. And it's involving proximity. So the challenge is still primarily kind of in that area where they were impacted by that. And I think what we'll see as it moves through that is a couple of different things. One will be more outdoor. I mean, I know it might kind of sound a little bit odd from a health coaching perspective, but more outdoor ability to have meetings, walking meetings, which are things that we were already practicing in a lot of health and wellness, employee wellness, corporate wellness, whatever bucket you want to put it in. Walking coaching, that kind of kills two birds with one stone. They get movement, they get fresh air. There's kind of a truth serum that exists when you're either sort of in a car with somebody driving or walking side by side, where so I think we'll see some of that from the in-person side. And the other part, as you've already said, we kind of addressed as well.
Yeah. What do you think, Stacy? I mean, again, you're at a big health club, multiple studios, lots of instructors. What's it going to look like?
I am so fortunate to work at a large facility because being able to spread people out is something that we've specialized in for a while. We have a large studio that did have 65 people in it on a packed day, and I don't see that happening again anytime soon. But Really, I see also the in-person experience needing to level up on its own, just because of the amount of effort people are understanding they now need to take in order to come into the facility and partake in the physical environment. So, and of course, the evolution of, as we start to come out of this COVID world, the instructor's role is, are they going to have to stay in the front of the studio the entire time? Are they ever going to be able to move around the space like they were before, which I know was really important to me. And so I just am trying to seek and find how we can evolve the experience in person to make it more valuable.
Yeah. And I like what you said. As an instructor, I'm going to come to you next, Rebecca, to talk like, how is your teaching going to have to change in person? Because we have been moving around the studio, touching people, getting in their space, high-fiving, they see our face. Now we've got masks on. Like what you said, that it starts with you having even more respect for the people that are showing up, whether you're a personal trainer or a group fitness instructor, because it's not just, we always knew that it was hard to get to a club. Like you had to make an active choice that I'm going to be there at this time. I've got to get childcare, get my kid into the, the childcare center there. I've got to change my clothes, et cetera, et cetera. So I hope there was some respect for that, but now it's reservations. Childcare may be closed. So now they are actually figuring out something else to do. There are just so many additional hoops to jump through to make it to that in person. I think we have to treat it with even more respect than we did before. So Rebecca, just quickly, what do you think? How's your teaching going to have to change? I know it's changed with doing virtual, but when you get back in person, how's it going to have to change?
I mean, I think it's the same for both, whether it's virtual or in person. It's got to be a lot more personal, right? Mm-hmm. We're no longer feeding off of that group energy of being in a room of 100 people woohooing, and the experience is very different now, right? People are looking for individualized coaching. Mm-hmm. They want that personal connection, and that needs to happen whether we're in person or doing things virtually.
Yeah. And Angel, you one-on-one and group training. I know it's going to come back, but.
Yes. And I think for, I'm on the train, Shannon, what you said about the independent, mm-hmm. professional, becoming more popular in 2021, but I also see it as a collaboration. I mean, with smaller, like maybe a small boutique studio where you can put 2 trainers in there at once, getting the individual attention, like Rebecca just said, but to share some costs and to share a space that is minimal. Like, I don't think we need all of the equipment that we had in the gyms. We're finding that resistance bands and a TRX work just as well as other things. So I think, collaborating and working with people in a small one-on-one setting. But for group fitness, for in San Diego too, it's just the outdoor stuff is so easy. But I will say one of the most, a valuable takeaway, I guess, that I've gotten out of the last year is that I purposely kept my group to 6 people. And I have them just do a sign up. I do 2 classes each morning back to back because I wanted to deliver an intimate, meaningful experience for them. It wasn't about how many people can I get in this park. And I wanted to be respectful of the space so that other people could work out next to me. So it's funny, like I work out, like my group is here and my Pilates instructor, Jen, is like right there. And we like are often chatting back and forth, and it's just built this great community. And the clients have really said that they value that small group feel, and that we have grown so close in the last 8 months, right? These were people that, oftentimes when you're on a mic and they're just coming to your class, you don't get the level of communication and friendship that has evolved over the last year. And for them, it's like the only time that they interact with people live all day. They go home and they sit on their computer for the next 9 hours. So I think it's the in-person, I think will be really, really strong in 2021.
And I think really interesting what you said, and it's going to lead us to our final question, or our final topic. The in-person experience, like what people are coming back. I've heard people talk about community. They're going to come back because community. They don't get that when they're at home. I don't believe that. Whole nother conversation. but we have to more sharply define what community is and what connection is. And to your point, I think people are craving those small, intimate, customized things where they know that you see them. Because I think sometimes as a group fitness instructor, I falsely assumed that because there was lots of energy in the room, because there were lots of people, that people felt connected. And what I learned in my journey is that some people felt very connected, like the people in the front row that wanted my job, but there were lots of other people that didn't. They felt very disconnected from the close friendships that were at the front of the classroom. So how can, and we were talking about this before we went on, I went to the zoo last night and I was trying to look for what I loved about what changed in 2020 with things I was doing with the kiddo, where the reservations stink. It's hard to get there, but once you do, you're like, ooh, we're all going in the same direction. This is much more enjoyable because it's small and it's quaint and I get to see what I want to see. I don't feel like I'm elbow to elbow. So all of that to say, I think the smaller, like we've got to find the joy in the small and know that for the people that we're serving, they are enjoying the small, intimate, customized. So how can we figure out how can we work the financial model to keep that intact? So I'm going to finish up with this one question. And this is a wish all my own, so no pressure. But I think 2021 is the year we finally realized, and we've been talking around this, that all exercise and health professionals are on a team. All of us. Like, I don't care. All of us live in very, very different places, but we're all on a team. And instead of fighting for clients or trying to be the most popular instructor, we can embrace the expanded interest in what we have to offer and finally tap into the 85% you heard Lee talk about that weren't in our health clubs or using our services prior to the pandemic. So closing thoughts, rapid fire. What do you think about teamwork and this professional community concept? Because that's what I'm hoping sticks around for 2021. Who am I going to start with? Let's see. Rebecca, you're up.
A rising tide lifts all boats. I think, I mean, I don't know. I think that's a JFK quote, but really, I think it gives us the opportunity to elevate the industry, elevate our profession, and people aren't just looking for one thing anymore. Fitness is not the one solution. It is a holistic package that we need to provide to really get people results. And that's what they're looking for. If we can provide results, they're going to win. And that means we're going to win.
That's awesome. Lee?
Well, I guess, excuse me while I sort of put on my professor hat just for a minute to maybe answer this. Like, there is growing and significant evidence, peer-reviewed journals that intentionally designed multidisciplinary teams are highly effective as a path toward health and wellness. Remember, we're looking at it from that holistic viewpoint for people. And so I think it's very exciting. I see it clearly, and my heart is involved in it. And from a operating from a like kind of like, what do you do? How do you get there? If that's what you're thinking, perhaps I would suggest that operating from a shared perspective, such as the biopsychosocial model. So it may sound scary if you're not used to it or heard it before, which all these concepts are in the health and wellness program for ACE, as we've discussed. That's a great place to start, because it looks at just think about it. It looks at the three pieces: the social aspect, the psychological, the mental, right? As well as the physical, the bio. And think about it. That's kind of diametrically opposed to a pure, biomedical approach to things, right? Where you get, when you go that direction, you're constantly in a solve a problem, fix it, right? Think about healthcare versus sick care kind of thing, right? Like, so this piece in these team-based organizations that are intentionally designed, from my perspective, I see that's where that teamwork thing is, and community concept is really powerful.
Yeah, that is so great. Stacy, I know we talk about this a lot. Collaboration beats competition. So tell me more.
Really, the reason I think of collaboration beating competition is that the competition is there's always one winner, whereas with collaboration, there's multiple winners. And where I see us is, as of course the independent is going to continue to rise, the best independents are the ones who are going to learn and continue learning from other people and build a collaboration, whether it's within a club or have a team of health and wellness professionals, whether they're teaching fitness or they're health coach or anyone in the fitness industry, really building that team of people to work together and learn from not only the fitness side but the business side and how to get better at what we do and become successful by hopefully making some money from it too.
Yeah. I was going to say the instructor side of it, Stacy, I know we talk about a lot. It like personal trainers, I'm not going to say simple to shift to online and figure out how to make all this work and then add health coaching on and let that be a team approach or plug into referrals. But group fitness instructors, I've seen a lot of them just believe I can go independent and just put my stuff online. And then they're forced to try to be all things to all people because, I mean, if you're doing group fitness and you only teach one format, then they don't think that there's value in that. And there is. I guess what I'm trying to say is specifically group fitness instructors, I hope you hear us. You have to continue to be part of a team. If you've decided you don't want to go back to a club, that's fine. But do what you do and do it well and price it in a way where you can be part of someone's fitness ecosystem or wellness ecosystem, right? Apple is not your competition. Peloton is not your competition. They are part of your toolbox that you could give to a client to be successful. Like I'm living proof. I do stuff outside by myself. I do things inside with someone on Peloton. I also have Apple Fitness Plus, have a gym membership that I'll go back to once I can safely. I'm going to do them all. Like, again, we're talking about like that, putting that person in the center of their fitness and wellness journey and letting them, get the best from, they want to customize it. Right. That I think that's the spirit that I hope, especially instructors, will figure out next year or this year.
I do just hope that instructors continue to also understand and respect, like we've talked about, what brings people to you and what that intimate process is for them to discover you and the health and the motivation to get moving again.
Yeah, for sure. And Angel, I'm going to give you the final word. Personal trainers. What's your take on collaboration, teamwork?
You just nailed it on that last little bit there, Shannon. Gosh, do I have anything else to add? No, I mean, collaboration is key. And if we look at motivational interviewing as like the foundation, right? Listening to our clients and listening to our members and hearing what they need and knowing that we will not be the end all be all, but we have the resources to direct them into the people that can help them. And we are okay with that. And that's not a shot to our ego because we're not going to do that for them. That's what we should be doing, right? Is saying that person is a better fit for you. And I trust them. I work with them. Like we as professionals need to have that network in your community. So make sure you're going out there and learning from other people, using other resources so that we can develop this continuum even more for the client.
And don't you think, I think specifically with personal trainers, because I get how it might be hard to develop an in-person network and feel confident enough to say, see me one day a week, see Lee one day a week, see this other person another day of the week. But I have taken on with my clients the role of their wellness Sherpa lately. And I'm going to give them what I do best, which is putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Like I don't actually really enjoy putting together strength training programs for people. I don't. I get the IFT model, but it pains me to sit down and think about sets, reps, and what you need to do first. But I know lots of people that do it really, really well. So I am the Sherpa using my Trainerize app where you put the client in there and I say, this is the strength training you're going to do. And I bought this, right? Like I have a business relationship with a person that helps me develop the strength training workouts for them based on the knowledge of what I know with that person, what they've got in their home. They don't ever have to talk. I pass the information. And then I know what I love on Peloton because I'm doing it in Apple Fitness. So I tell them to go do that for cardio because they can't get to cardio right now. And you get what I'm saying. So I hope in 2021, personal trainers can realize like your best gift to someone is being their Sherpa. Like it isn't babysitting them and watching them do sets and reps and making sure that you do all of it for them, put their cardio together, put their strength together, do their strength training. And you mentioned that earlier. I think it could be so freeing for you as well as a personal trainer. It doesn't all like I did that for 10 years and I hated it. I hated every minute of it. It doesn't make me happy. But I'm still equally impactful now as a trainer, collaborating with people from all around the world now that we have these virtual delivery methods. That's the coolest thing ever. So that's my wish for 2021 is we know that there are plenty of people that we need to get moving. Right? They weren't in our gyms before. We had not tapped our potential. we have unfulfilled potential. Like there is just so much more we can do in 2021. And I thank each of you for the wisdom and insight, and just you all have been so positive and confident in the last 10 months, even if you were the proverbial swan where you looked beautiful on the surface and you're paddling like hell underneath like I was. It's been a pleasure to watch you guys navigate the last year. And I trust that everyone listening will glean at least one piece of information. That's the least I can ask for. At least one piece of information that you can take to capitalize and just grow your business and your impact in 2021. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. And on behalf of ACE, I'm Shannon. We'll talk to you later.